In this segment, we're going to yet take a look at another if statement. This time we're looking at a if-elif-else statement. So this is actually pretty cool. I think this is a little bit of a better way if you have multiple conditions to test versus trying to do a nested if-else statement. So let's take a look at how the flowcharting of this works. So again, we're going to start out with a decision, and this is done with a symbol of that diamond. So we have our first condition. If the test is going to be true, then what's going to happen then, we're going to execute this specific block of code. After it's done, it drops out, and then this will continue on statements after the if. And again, remember that anything that we do with the if, we have our condition, and then we follow by a colon, and then everything here is going to be indented. But if this statement then is basically false, then what will happen is we go on to our second test. So here we're utilizing an elif statement to do a test, and once again we have a colon at the end and everything is indented. So this particular test is following along this particular code. So if this evaluates to be true, blocks of code are executed, then it drops out and then continues on with the rest of the program. If that is not the case, we have yet another elif test condition as well. So again, which is indented, and you keep on going on and on as many as you need. And this is going to be our third test. So again, if this test here is false, it's going to go to test number 3, and again we're utilizing elif. If that is true, we're going to evaluate this particular block of code and then drop down. So you can see here, this is going to be our block of code that we're executing. And then if we have everything, all the conditions that are either not met, we have our final component here, which is the else. You notice that we don't have any conditions, although you can have additional conditions if you need to. And then it will execute this block of code, just like we see here, and then it drops out. So as you can see, creating a flowchart definitely is going to help out with the structure of your code here. Because when we're looking at different components here, it just makes it easier to follow along with that particular syntax. Let's take a look to see how a if-elif-else statement works. So you could see that things are much better aligned when we end up utilizing this. There's no massive indentations with a nested if. So we have our first condition. If that's true, this is evaluated. If this condition is met, then this is evaluated. Otherwise, it's going to utilize this as our last evaluation. So we're going to be doing a program that's going to be very similar to this, and we'll take a look to see how that one works.